Hi, welcome to Off the Leash Conversation. I'm Sam.
I'm John. Tom.
I'm
Jess.
Sam.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jess.
Yes.
There we go.
Jom. I'm Jom. You can be whoever you want to be. It's 2026.
I said Tom. Did it come out?
We're going to have to play the music back or roll the tapes back.
I'm John. I'm John.
I think you said John or Jom or not Tom. There was no "t" in that.
Do we want to start over? Because this is a bad.
Can I get one of those things that's like ka-ching? You know what I'm talking about?
The clickers?
Yeah.
The clacker?
Yeah.
Welcome to Off the Leash Conversation. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Sam.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jess.
Okay, so we got through the introductions this week, and it didn't go too bad. So, a lot of schools are starting back to.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are starting back to school this week,
Yeah.
and over the next few weeks, it's going to be chaos.
My God.
And that's going to really lead over into the dog world. And a lot of times, we get people that ask, "My kids are going back to school. What am I going to do with my dog?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What do you normally do with your dog, right? But then they find out, 1 or 2 weeks in, the dog's just lost its marbles. It's hyperactive. It's running around wild. It's tearing things up. And what they don't understand is dogs, much like their kids, they have to figure out their schedule. They have to get back on a schedule. And that's separation where they've been around and there's been somebody in the house with them all, summer. Kids are in and out. Mom or dad's home. They're getting extra attention. They're getting extra walks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to stop. So, this week, it's kind of touching on that is that back to school special where what are we going to do with our canines? What can we expect their behavior to look like when everybody starts going back to school? And how do we keep them on that schedule? And I know personally, like, my dogs are on a very set schedule. And if they don't have their schedule, they're just looking around like, what is going on? No, I'm not doing that because it's not the right time of day, right?
Yeah.
So when we get back into having these kids going to school, the dogs are, getting fed at a different time of day. They're going outside at a different time of day. We're going to have behavioral issues. So, just what's some things that you think out of your guys' world that we have to look for?
I mean, I think the biggest thing right now is the crates. So imagine for the last, 3 months, a lot of dogs have had free rein. School's out, the kids are home, and they have constant stimulation, constant entertainment, constant stimulus throughout the day. And a lot of them aren't using the crate and they're not doing those things because the kids are home. Mom and dad might be home. Their schedules look different. And so the biggest thing is when all of a sudden on a random Wednesday, everyone leaves the house. Mom and dad are back to work. All the kids are in school all day. And where there's been this constant stimulus, now there's nothing. A lot of times these dogs, we talk about the art of doing nothing, but a lot of times dogs get in this routine of this constant stimulus. And then all of a sudden when everything's quiet and everyone's gone, they don't know what to do with themselves. And the crates all get put away during the summer because they're constantly in and out. People are traveling with their pets. We've seen that commonly. People are taking the pets with them on vacation. They are going to the patio places. They're taking the dogs swimming. They're doing all these really awesome things. And then school hits and life's busy. And the dogs now have this separation anxiety because their people are gone and we can't tell them. We try to tell them in as many terms as we can, but dogs don't always understand why all of a sudden that just stops. One day it's there and then the next day it's just completely different. And a lot of times we don't slowly transition them back into a different routine. A lot of times it's just one day is constant stimulation, kids running everywhere, everything's super fun and exciting and free. And then the next day we're like, all right, cool, we're all leaving and you're going to be home by yourself for an extended period of time, or in your crate for an extended period of time that you haven't experienced in months. And there was no transition, there was no lead up, there was no slow roll back into that. And then you get a lot of anxiety problems that people don't know how to deal with.
So I had just about an hour ago had a client, and then she just recently got a German Shepherd puppy, and she's a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So she's the one going back to school. She doesn't have children. So she's trying to reintro or introduce the crate to the dog, to where the dog is kind of, right now he's a little iffy about it. And we discussed that. We also discussed about just doing daily routine.
Yep.
So the dog gets into a training schedule, and something that she can continue to do that once school starts for her. But that's what her next 3 weeks are going to be focused on. We don't start here in Morrow County until after Labor Day, so she's got a little more time.
Something
Yeah, so,
interesting.
along those lines, Jess. So along those lines, a question for both of you is, one of the things I get asked is, why did my dog or puppy regress and start having accidents? Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you start having, accidents in the house. And I see, I try to explain it to them. It's like, well, you were home and the dog was used to going out on a schedule of these times. Well, nobody's home now.
Yeah.
So you have to start transitioning that, like you said, Jessica, start transitioning that schedule earlier.
Yeah.
So it's not a one-day transition. But for you and Tom, I'm going to throw this out to you guys, and you can pick who wants to answer it, but how would you go about retraining that potty training schedule? How would you go about getting them back on that schedule?
I mean, for me, is what I suggested to her was to re-intro the crate and get a routine more with the crate. And this dog is kind of still, this puppy is kind of not real sure about crate. I don't think it was properly introed. So we're actually reintroducing the crate and making that more something where the dog is secured and not going to use the potty inside the crate. She was mentioning about sectioning off a section of her house. And I'm like, the problem you're going to run into there is the dog's going to have more room, bigger area, and you're going to entice that going to the bathroom inside the house, I think. And they can just do whatever. Or potentially the dog then now wants to destroy, cupboards or doors or whatever it may be because he's bored, So that, for me, I would say the crate.
For me, it's still the crate. I'm a huge crate fan, and I always have been. But it's hard because what is done now. People who are in the future looking to get dogs or whatever, I just try to caution people not to change their routine too much in the summer time frame when the kids are all home, or even during winter break and all these times that, our schedules may look different. Still sticking to using your crate as regular as possible. And it can be simple things for people to get back in the groove. A lot of times I'm hearing that these dogs are sleeping with the kids and sleeping in bed with them, which I think is great. I'm all for that. But what happens then is that, mom and dad are trying to get the kids ready for school and the dog's running around and it's a little bit chaotic and the dog's like, where's everybody going? What's going on? Getting back into a routine where you're putting the dog in the crate maybe while you're getting ready for work or getting kids ready, eating breakfast. And so using that crate time where maybe people feel like they don't really need it, kind of getting back in that routine where the dog is in and out of the crate on a regular basis for no particular reason, so that when you do leave, that's not new, that's not different. It's just their safe place and that's just cool. Like, I'm okay to hang out here. Using the crate at dinner time. So a lot of times, during our free times in the summer, the dog's out running around. We're cooking out in the backyard. The dog's probably just running around, having fun, doing the things. Kind of going back into this slow transition of like, hey, I'm going to cook dinner and we're going to settle down for the night or whatever. Putting the dog in a safe place, whether you're kind of corralling it to an area, again, using your crate, and kind of having that separation from your dog where it's okay that they're away from you and nothing has happened, nothing bad has happened. You weren't gone for 10 hours all of a sudden. And throughout the next couple weeks, the same thing, like trying to separate yourself and allowing your dog to be independent without you, and allow them to get a little bit of confidence that just because you're not in the same room as them, or they can go outside and be self-sufficient without the kids constantly throwing the ball and running around and playing chase. Like, let the dog just be outside by itself and do its thing, or the kids go outside and the dog stay inside, and not be in that constant stimulation will help the transition back to normal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And we talk about separation anxiety quite a bit, and
Yeah.
I'll get your guys' feelings on this, but even my dogs, they don't have separation anxiety at all. They go into their kennels. I just give them their house command. They go in, they lay down, they get their Chewy bones. Marty, Chewy, great product. If anybody's out here listening to us, if you're looking for the best chew bone you'll ever get, reach out to Chewy.
Yep.
I got a Great Dane and a Mastiff. These guys love it, but they'll go in their cage and lay down and chew.
Yeah.
But when we leave, I still leave a TV on for them.
Sure.
Or a radio, or white noise.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, it seems like it just gives them that background noise to let them kind of relax that, hey, we're not alone, and they're not focusing on outside stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
They know the TV's on, they hear that as background. So when a truck goes by the house, they don't really pay attention to it. Or if another dog in the neighborhood's barking, it's kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, I got my TV. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Yeah.
I leave a TV on for the dog every day. In fact, she's probably well versed on what's going on in the world, because usually it's a news channel. I usually come home and ask her what's going on. So she's very content with having the TV on, and she does have a crate. I allow her now, my Corso, to be she can roam free, but she's at that stage in her life. She doesn't tear anything up majorly. I mean, sometimes she'll get mad and take a shoe into her living room and just set it there to let us know that she's not real happy with us. But for the most part, she's really good about that. But I know a lot of people feel like they don't want to put their dog in the crate. They don't want to imprison the dog, or if you will. And I tell them, like, that's not the way to look at it. You look at it as that's where the dog feels the most safe and kind of relief, if you will. Another thing I tell them is, like, I leave the crate door open so that way they can go in and out. And because, like, maybe they need to get away from us, like they're humans, and that's their way of doing it. So I agree, like what Jess said earlier. Like, I told my previous client, like, let your dog go outside, let him do things by himself, let him start gaining that independence too. And then the other thing I would probably tack onto that is, in that routine, is taking the dog more places with you if you can. I know I'm kind of a little bit off base on the TV, but I think that is important as well, is implementing the dog more when you go away. If you can take the dog with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that just because summer's over, the fun doesn't have to stop. And I think that goes for life in general. I think that there's a little bit of summer blues going on across the board. Like, all of us are feeling it. Even if you don't have kids going back to school, it kind of starts to feel like the summer's winding down, and everyone really looks forward to the summer because you do so many fun activities and you travel and you do all this stuff. And I think that something important is, yes, we're getting back into a routine, and we're leaving our pets at home because we all are, the kids are gone, all those things. But, there are still fun things to be had and things to look forward to. And so making sure that we're still building that into the structure as we kind of go forward in the seasons is still including your dog in those things, and still finding activities to do and stimulus to do. And a lot of times we start to get in this habit because kids are playing sports after school. The weekends are filled with sports. There's lots of things to be going on, but having that time that's not just throwing ball in the backyard, but having intentional, and we've talked about a million times, like having intentional playtime, doing something, whether you're gonna go out to some of these festivals that are gonna be coming up. The weather's not gonna be so hot, so hopefully people can start to get out to these little festivals and like some patio time. Pumpkin patches are all coming up, all these cool things that you can do, like having that plan, start practicing the things that you're looking forward to. You know, people will say, I don't know if my dog's ready to be in public. Well, now's the time. You know, the kids are back in school. We do have more structure. So let's start to build intentional training time into that, whether we're doing an hour session with a trainer, you know, once a week, once every other week is sometimes sufficient to kind of get back into a good place and start to train for the things that you want to do moving forward. You know, Christmas and holidays and all those things, people, you just get overwhelmed and life gets away from you. Next thing you know, you're like, holy crap, it's Christmas and my dog's being a jerk and I haven't done anything, you know, and it's not used to being in a crate when the guests come over. It's not used to all of these things that happen around the holidays. And like, now is the time to do that when kids are going back to school, because now we're starting to build that structure and we need to get them in a good routine that like things look different, and that's okay.
Yeah, you mentioned like when, you know, the dog, you know, if you don't take your dog out, you know, just kind of like how, you know, when the dog's not in the crate or doing things in home, things kind of go sideways. If you don't take your dog in the socialization mode and take them to places, then you start losing that structure, if you will, of them being in public and being that good dog in public. So I think you're right. It's just as important to implement your dog into outside activities just as much as you incorporate the at home and being away for a long period of time.
I mean, look at we call it the COVID dogs, right? That's always kind of this weird social term that people use, but look at all the dogs that people got around COVID timeframe where there was so much lockdown and they had so much freedom within the home because everyone was home. You didn't go anywhere. You didn't do anything. Your dog was never alone, and they didn't establish those routines and structures. And we still are feeling the remnants of that even now. We get a lot of that where people say, well, he was a COVID dog. And what that means to us trainers is that dog never learned to be independent. That dog doesn't have a lot of confidence. They don't know how to just do nothing. Their entire puppyhood was constant stimulation, constant entertainment. It relies on its person to play, and they just don't really know how to do anything by themselves. And what we see this time of season is just a small little snippet of that. The dogs have had just a few months of freedom. And so it does take a little bit less time to get them back into a normal if you start now. But imagine that you don't establish that and you don't show the dog those skills. It can be a big challenge, and a lot of our COVID dogs feel those challenges. It's hard to undo a longer period of time, and the longer they go without having to do these things or having them do these things, it's harder to get back into that routine. It's harder to show them that that's what we expect.
I'm going to go regress just a little bit because, Jess, you and Tommy both hit on a couple key points that, one, I really like to explore. But first, the whole thing on the kennels, and I know we talk about the crates and stuff all the time. Both of my dogs can be out all day by themselves in the house. They don't have to be in the kennel. I put them in there for the dog's safety. If my wife's not home, I'm not home, and we're going to be gone for 4 or 5 hours, if God forbid something happens in my house, I want the first responders to be able to grab a kennel and go, or know exactly where the dog is.
Yeah.
I don't want my Cane Corso meeting the first responder at the front door, right? That's probably going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
So a lot of time when I talk to clients about crates and kennel training, it's really for the safety of the dog.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been around dogs all my life. Table legs get chewed. It happens. But it's really for the safety of the dog. And then, Jessica, you really hit on a thing that I think that we overlook even as trainers this time of year. Mom and dad, the kids, we're getting ready to go back to school. We're trying to get the last minute vacation in. We are extremely stressed. We're trying to get shopping done. There's a million things going on, right? And we talk about this with service dogs, but every pet dog has the same ability. They sense when the owner is really stressed out and your cortisol levels are high. And they wonder why their dog is behaving the way they are, right? how much of that is the introduction of this manifested stress
Yeah.
that we don't even think about? And what's that doing to the dog's behavior?
Yeah. And I think keeping the kids involved too, I think that that's a huge part of the picture. Is just because the kids are going back to school doesn't mean that they all of a sudden can't or don't need to be involved. Like, get the kids involved in making it fun for the dog to be by themselves. So, if your kids are of an appropriate age, or if they're the age to even help, we've talked about it before, making the lick mats or the Kongs or doing those, like, let your kids pick out, food safe things that your dog enjoys. Oh, mine's better tonight. Liquid death. Tommy, where are you at?
I got Gold Peak.
So, hey, Liquid
Peak.
Death, if you're out there watching,
Oh my God.
we love your product. Being more
If I had Liquid Death, I would drink it.
Those director's chairs.
Just
where are they at?
we're still working.
Still working on them.
I'm gonna have to buy them. What I wanted to touch is, you mentioned about the kids and getting them involved and stress. Here's a different take on it. Kids going back to school, and if they're athletes and they have after school practices and games, a lot of times they come home and then your dog is just excited to see them.
Yeah.
And they don't want anything to do with them because they're
tired.
overwhelmed they're tired from the school day. They're tired from working out. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes we have to remind the kids, like, hey, I know you're tired. I get it. Go take a shower, go take a bath, whatever, and then spend some time with your dog.
Yeah.
Because they need that. And really it will help the kids too to kind of decompress from the day and calm down. Just as much as our humans, when we are stressed. I mean, I love coming home and my dog is like wagging her tail and she's just like, ugh. And I just pet her and I feel better, right? Yep. I would stress to the parents, so like, hey, kids, pet your dog. Yeah.
Well, and one of my favorite things to suggest, and we talk a lot about this when we do therapy dogs, part of some of the things we teach is for our therapy dogs is to teach them how to settle, because there's library programs where the kids can read to dogs. It helps them feel more comfortable and the kids learn to read and it's fun and all these things, right? Something that I also recommend in these circumstances, like you said, Tommy, getting the kids involved, like, homework is stressful, but if they can do homework with their dog, whether they're reading their chapter book and they have to read a few chapters, read it with the dog, read it out loud to the dog, get the dog engaged. I remember, no shade or anything, but doing math homework at the kitchen table, and just like somebody was just so helpful with my math homework, not naming any names. Having a dog that could have 2 + 2. Having a dog, there is proven science behind how dogs can help kids and help the education of a child and help them through some of these processes. So some of these young friends, and even our high school age kids, that they're having a lot of challenges in school because it is stressful and a lot of new things they're taking in and learning. Having your dog be there with your kid and allow them to do homework together and make it a fun thing to, like, do homework with the dog, and then the dog can go play and you can play and the kids can run around the backyard and be crazy. But, like, do your homework, read to the dog, do those things. It will help on both ends of that for sure. Yeah,
I think the reading thing is really important, because I know, like, for me as a kid, I hated reading. It just wasn't my thing. Math, man, I can math the hell out of that. Reading, maybe not.
Shall we mention how you miscalculated your math problem recently, or we're going to let that go?
Oh, we were going to let that go.
Let that go.
If you have a child who doesn't really like to read, having them read to the dog and interact with the dog while they're reading is a great way to get them to do it. Now, we go back to this math thing. I'm going to throw it out there. I have a hybrid vehicle, got me a really nice 4xe Jeep. When the low gas light comes on and you calculate your total mileage from where you're at to where the gas station is, you have to understand is you can't do that off the total of your gas. You have to factor in that E variable also. Because If not, you run short by about a quarter of a mile.
To be a fly on
anybody
that.
that has a 4xe, when the low light comes on and you don't have battery power, it will stop. Just throwing that out there for you. Know that from experience.
Lessons were learned that day.
I see.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we're going back to school with these kids, and I think, Tom, you were talking about the athletes and stuff, and I think this is actually really a good time for where if we have a dog that's been trained and has that public ability, taking a dog to pick the kids up.
Oh yeah.
right.
Taking the kids to taking the dog to the practice field while the kids are practicing and giving them a little bit of a walk.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Disneyland for the dog.
Yeah.
Every time you take a dog to a new area, a new odor, new sensations, it's like them going to Disney World. Mm-hmm. In that 5 or 10 minutes to take the dog to go pick your kids up, they get a car ride, they get to go sniff around a new area, and then they come home and they're ready to settle down a little bit. So I think that's really important, is for us to get those dogs back out in the public. Can take them to the sporting fields, pick the kids up. Uh-oh, we just lost Tom.
Tommy, where are you?
Or Don or John or June, whatever it was.
John, where are you at?
I'd let the dog.
I mean, I think something else, and I'm guilty of this, and I know a lot of families are. I am guilty, so I try not to give advice on this where I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, but making a big deal out of coming and going as well. So for me, in the mornings when I go to work, my dogs love to go to the office with me. It's their favorite thing in the world, and sometimes that's a challenge. And I feel guilty. I love when they come to the office. It makes me feel good. I love spending the day with them, various things. But making a big deal over me leaving, I love to give everyone hugs and kisses and tell them I love them and I'll be back soon and all the fuzzy little things. And then when I come home from work, a lot of times they're just so excited to see me, and I feed into the bullshit, and I know I feed into the bullshit, and then that creates chaos, and that can create unwanted behaviors. And for me, I'm very lucky and fortunate that none of my dogs have separation anxiety, but dogs who do have that anxiety or start to manifest that anxiety, that behavior will fuel the fire. So, making a big deal out of coming and going fuels that anxiety for them. And so if that's the case, trying to minimize making a big deal out of you coming and going, and try to be neutral and just leave. Don't make it a thing, and don't make it a thing when you come home. For me, I want to hug everyone and pick up all the kitty cats and smush on everybody and do all the cute fuzzy things. And for many dogs, you can create a lot of problems doing that.
That's kind of what we talked about on the 4th of July episode, was we actually create our own dogs, anxiety.
Absolutely.
And we make them, neurotic by our behavior.
Oh, for sure.
So, so storms, fireworks, that kind of stuff where the dog gets crazy. A lot of times that's something we've actually created because of how we respond to it. And you're spot on, Jessica. We do the same thing with dogs for separation anxiety. Mine don't get excited when I leave. They don't get excited when I get home. It's just like neutral.
Yeah.
Because it's just the process of the day. And keeping that routine, I think, makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yara still pees. She still pees all over the place.
But, and that. And sometimes, as trainers, we do silly things like that. I mean, I try to be careful not to preach it too much. But when I do have clients that are having major challenges with anxiety behaviors and separation anxiety specifically, that is something that can be really helpful, is to try to be as neutral as possible about big goodbyes and big hellos, and minimizing that can be very helpful, because to the dog, that overstimulation and that whole dynamic that goes on when you make it a big party when you come and go, then the dog is kind of bracing for impact. They kind of already know what's coming, and they're expecting that, like, okay, well, this happens every time you leave. You do this little routine and you kiss all over me and do all this nonsense. And the dog starts to expect it, and that definitely makes it. And I mean, if you think as a person, if you have anxiety, like how you feel, when you have these big grandiose gestures. You're going to go to an event, you're going to go do this thing or go to an appointment. You have this level of anticipation, and that's what we're creating for the dog inadvertently, and without getting too nerdy and into the weeds about building anticipation and dopamine and all those things. In a way, we are creating that. We are creating this anticipation of something happening. And in training terms, sometimes building anticipation is very important for our training, and it can make our training successful. And in moments of dogs that have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear and a lot of self-confidence problems, it can make things much worse for them because their anticipation is not for something positive. They're bracing for impact that you're leaving, which is a negative to them. They don't have their reassurance. They don't have their security. And that's where you start to get into major anxiety problems where, first people will say, well, my dog was a little bit whiny when I left. They couldn't really settle. They barked for a little while. And if we continue to fuel that fire, you start to get into really, really major consequences where you're talking about destructive behaviors to the property, destructive behaviors to themselves, where the dogs are self-harming. They're soiling everywhere, whether it's in the crate or throughout the home. They're literal destroying furniture. I've also seen things as crazy as dogs fighting. If you have a multi-house dynamic where the dogs are normally coexist and everything's good and great and they're friends, and you've got one dog who's got this severe separation anxiety all of a sudden, and the other dog gets in the middle of that, they've redirected and caused a big dog fight. I've seen that happen.
I dealt with that.
It's
I had
scary.
a patrol call where I went to, and the one of the family members went home to the home to let the dog out, and when she entered the home, there was two dogs that there was a bloodbath, and she called us, the police, and we got there.
Scary.
And luckily we didn't have to do anything major. The owners came and took care of the dogs. But yeah, that's 100% what happened there. There was separation anxiety. There was formed some sort of reactivity.
Yep.
And so here's a question. Once we went down this path, how do we correct it? Like if you have inadvertently created this separation anxiety, what's our solutions?
It takes a long time. Separation anxiety is probably one of the most tedious, frustrating things to deal with because it is not an easy fix, and nothing you do will work quickly,
permanently.
Yeah. And it's a slow, steady climb to the top. I don't have strong feelings one way or another, but talking to your veterinarian about medication options, if it is really self-destructive and severe, in the context of, and I blanket this across everyone, is you can't just medicate the dog and then do nothing else and expect the behavior to change. The goal of medication is to help your training process, because if you can never get out of fight or flight mode, you can't really learn anything, and you can't really process the things that need to be processed. So it's like your own health and your own therapies. Like, you can use medication, but if you're not going to also do the other side of the work that has to be done, you're not going to make progress. So when I say talking to your veterinarian about medication, I don't mean just give you some Trazzies and see how it goes. I'm talking about getting some proper anxiety medication and then working with a trainer on behavior modifications where we're changing routines, we're changing what door we go out of, we're changing our routines as a human, whether we get our keys, get our purse, then put our shoes on, where the routine had been maybe put your shoes on, get your purse, get your keys. You're trying to disrupt the process, and you're trying to disrupt the cycle so that the dog can't connect the dots. And you're talking about doing a behavior modification where you're doing 5 minutes in the crate, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, then so on and so forth, until you build to a place where the dog can tolerate longer extended periods of time. That is a hell of a process. And that's a hell of a process as a trainer. It's very, very difficult. And it is something that sometimes people get pets that come with separation anxiety. We see it a lot in our shelter friends and our rescue friends. And it's not anyone's fault. It's a product of things that have happened to that dog. And we've talked about not allowing the baggage to be carried into their new life. But sometimes these little things do happen. And as humans, we feel bad and we try to baby them out of it and we try to protect them and, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And instead of giving them a little bit of tough love and doing the work that has to be done to get to a point where we can, you know, there is a point in the process where you have to be like, too bad, so sad. You're in a crate that is safe for you and we've done everything we can do. Like, you're going to have to just tough it out. And that's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard.
I like to intro our line of our CBD oil.
Yep. It's a great
natural option. It's not a fix all for everybody, and it is, like you said, sometimes it's not an immediate result. Sometimes I have seen it where my clients, or I'm sure you guys have seen it with your clients, where they've reported fantastic results right off the rip.
Yep.
It may be a little bit needing a therapeutic dose, but I think that's a great option.
Yep.
Our particular CBD oil is the marijuana is grown here in Ohio, is processed here in Ohio, and we also look at the G cannabinoid, which is specifically designated for anxiety, and it's ever since we switched to that, I have had a lot of clients have been very positive in their response. They see a huge change. I can't really compare it from our original batch that we did compared to our new batch, but it seems to be better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And actually, you know, with the separation anxiety, one of the things I stress is before you start going into heavy medication, try a CBD, CBG oil. Do the blend. But one of the things that, for me, and it goes back to the crate, is don't make the crate the only time the dog sees the crate shouldn't be when you're leaving.
Yeah.
So you get up in the morning, everybody does their thing, dog has their breakfast. Put your dog away for 5-10 minutes while the kids are putting their shoes on and getting ready. Get the dog back out.
Yep.
And put the dog back in. Dinner time, put the dog in. So they get used to, oh, I'm going in my crate. This doesn't mean I'm there all day. I might be 5 minutes, I might be an hour. And varying that routine up really helps a lot. But like you said, with the CBD oil, my clients have had a really good response to it.
Yep.
And
I like that
you
you
Jess,
can
like
use
you
it.
said, that therapeutic level, just getting them out of fight or flight, just bring it down a little bit.
Yep.
So that you can communicate with them. It makes a huge difference.
What I like about our particular option, and I'm sure there's other options on the market as well. I don't want to discount that or discredit that, but the flavoring, because it's unflavored, is really nice because I have been known to mix it into my peanut butter mixture for my lick mat because, again, there's scientific backing to that licking behavior is a self-soothing behavior. And adding CBD oil to your lick mat can be a really good resource for them because you know that they're going to get that dose of CBD, but it's also in a way that is helping them relax and wind down. And I think that is an important part of the process, is giving them an outlet to do that and giving them an outlet before their anxiety. Because a lot of times what we do is we know that the crate is a point of anxiety for them because we're leaving, or we're just leaving in general, and we toss them some treats and head out the door, and the dog is so anxious and so worked up before that because they recognize the cycle that we're leaving. They already get themselves spun up that they don't care about my food, they don't care about my treats. Their anxiety overrides all those things. And so practicing this process of giving them a lick mat, giving them a Kong toy, giving them a special chewy bone, giving them these things before the anxiety starts is a really helpful part of the process. And our CBD oil being unflavored is helpful because you can put it on the food, you can put it on your lick mat and mix it into the product there. And it can be a great way to incorporate it without feeling like you're medicating or you're having to put it in their mouth and all that nonsense. And for me, I like to feed my meals in the crate. So my dogs are fed in the crate. And that creates a space for them that, like, again, the crate isn't a bad place to be. This is where I eat my food. This is where my belongings are. I keep their toys and things in their crates and they drag them out and whatever. But instead of having a toy box the toy box is their crate. Everyone has their toys and I just toss them in their crates because that is their space and their safe space. And that was created so that it doesn't matter if I'm coming or going. When they go in their crate, all the good things happen there. They get toys there. They get fed their meals there. And it can be a hard thing to implement if you haven't done that up to this point. And it takes a little bit of tough love to like put them in their crate, give them their dog bowl and just leave them, leave them alone and don't give into it, you know, but it can be helpful.
I would probably combine dopamine box.
Absolutely.
With that prior to maybe feeding them in the crate to that transition, or maybe using the dopamine box to when you realize that this is triggers for anxiety for them, maybe we can get dopamine box out and start working that to kind of change that mindset for the dog for a little bit. And then, you know, maybe go into some sort of training regimen at that point. Could be a good option.
Well, Tommy, you and I have used, I don't even know if you can call it a dopamine box or whatever, but you know, you and I have done where like the whole crate is the dopamine box. And so we just take the doors, we take the doors off the crate and we use the entire crate system as the dopamine box. And that can be incredibly rewarding in itself because it stops being such a scary thing for the dog.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's how I do puppy crate training anyhow.
Me too.
Is they get their treats in there.
Yeah.
And it's a jackpot when they go in, 1 or 2 when they come out. Jackpot when they go in, 1 or 2 when they come out.
Yep.
And it doesn't take long for these puppies to go, oh, if I go in here, this is where the magic is.
Yes.
I don't know how the food gets in here, but it gets in.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing too, and we talk about this a little bit with other aspects of training. We talk a lot about it with e-collar training, is trying not to tie yourself to that tool so that the dog isn't correlating you with that. And the same goes for your crate and your crate training and separation anxiety, is trying not to tie all those things together that you're associated with that, letting the dog make up their own mind to go in the crate and to be in the crate and to do those behaviors is far more successful than like forcing them in the crate. And it takes time.
Right.
Like sometimes like you don't have a choice. There are other circumstantial things, but if you have the opportunity to start to build that process where when we're talking about puppy stuff, we're so successful with crate training puppies because they think that the food, they don't know where the food came from. They're just excited that food's in the crate. And every time they go near the crate, more food drops from the top. They're like, what the heck? This is the best day ever. It rains dog kibble in this thing, you know? And they don't make that association that we've like, that the treats are coming from us necessarily. And that like, that there is any association there. They just know that they do this really cool thing and they get rewarded for it. They're going to be more likely to want to do it on their own. And we see that all the time. By the end of puppy sessions, they're like running in the crate, turning around, and then they sit or down and they freeze mode and they just stare. They're like waiting, like, hello, where's the treat, God? Where is it going to come from? You know? And it's really fun thing to see. It can be a little more challenging with an established adult dog, but a lot of them do catch on pretty quick and it can be a fun game. It can be a really fun game.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's kind of like what we tell our clients all the time is, if the dog can figure out the task, it will learn that task a lot faster. And if we can be less involved, as in, I don't like to say forcing it on them, but maybe less luring or letting them kind of like, we put the food in there and they go in on their own. Like they figure that out. They self-investigate and they start seeing the positives of it. The dog does, we've seen it. The dog learns a lot faster and they enjoy it a lot easier. Mm-hmm. So I think that's an awesome way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going down that rabbit hole, I got a couple quick, I'm going to shoot some rapid fires at you here in a second, but going down that rabbit hole is free shaping. And we can do just a whole thing on free shaping, but most important thing about free shaping in training is it allows the dog to puzzle out what's going on in the environment and how to properly react to it.
Yep.
And when a dog really gets that understanding of free shaping, game changer. And
Well, and
we have Nine Oscar that is amazing at it. He knows
Yeah.
if we stop, we're having a chat, he just lays down.
Yeah.
He knows how to figure out what's going on in his environment and what behavior he should be providing, which is crazy.
well, it goes.
Go ahead, Jess.
It's okay. It goes back to we were talking about building anticipation, and it can be a good thing or a bad thing. And in these kinds of training cases, when we're talking about making forward progress with letting the dog think for themselves and try to figure it out and letting them, free shape, it is building anticipation of reward. It is building anticipation of something positive happening to them, and they're more likely to want to do those behaviors. And so that anticipation is what's going to break the cycle versus the dog seeing that you do this routine, you do this certain thing, and then the negative is that you leave, and that social behavior is gone. And a dog who thrives on social aspect of their life, that is a huge negative to them. We're taking away a big piece of what they need. And so if you can build anticipation in a good way, you're going to hopefully break that cycle and have a dog who's confident without needing those things.
It's implied behavior. The dog understands like what environment is he needs to perform. So it's implied behavior. The dog understands it. He sees the outcome, like you mentioned, Jess, and the positive, and it goes in automatic. It's almost like a Pavlovian response to it, where the dog just becomes, this happens. This is my response to it.
Yep.
So yeah, very good.
Love it.
Okay, you guys ready for a couple quick questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, first one. It's summer. This is all school special, so
Oh boy.
bedtime. Dogs in the bed. Dogs not in the bed.
Dog's in the bed.
Dog's in the bed. I always have him in the bed.
Always.
I ended up on the couch because the dog was in the bed the other night.
Walking the dog to the bus stop in the morning with the kids.
Heck yeah.
I guess I'll say it depends on the dog and maybe the stage of the dog's life at the time. Like, are we going to create some sort of unwanted behavior because the dog's going to the bus? Like we talked about that big goodbyes or the big hellos. I mean, are we going to produce that, or is the dog older or maybe just a calmer dog? And it can take that task work to be like, I can go see them, say bye, sit there when they come off the bus and everything is cool. So I would say a lot depends on the dog.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on that one personally. I can go either way. I see benefits to it, but I also see we could create a behavior that we don't want. Using the dog as a homework tool for your kids.
Yeah.
So what I mean is you want to be able to interact with the dog, you need to do A, B, and C first.
Heck yeah. Bribery is, listen, if you bribed me with a dog and snacks, I will do whatever homework is in my backpack. Game on.
That was when I was a kid growing up. I would get off the school bus and my mother would let me go play with my dog for, half hour, 45 minutes. And then we did school homework. So yeah, absolutely. I think
think about the resource. We
reward.
have dogs in schools nowadays that are helping kids regulate and helping them with school stuff, and they work inside the school as an employee. So you can mimic that in your own home. I think it's great.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that probably wraps it up for this week. What do you guys think? Anything we missed out on?
I don't think so.
Bark is
Hopefully
coming up. Can we do a shout out to Bark Bash next week?
Yeah.
Right? Next weekend, the 22nd, at Prairie Oaks Park in Hilliard. It's one of our favorite. It's on the list of favorite events. We really enjoy it. It's a great time. They have swimming. I know there's places your dog can swim. They've got the paddle boards, the kayaks. They've got really fun crafts that are free. And then obviously all the shopping. They have a ton of vendors and a ton of really cool, just dog specific things and dog specific companies out there that are doing, people have giveaways, people have actual things like retail to buy. And then we'll be there, some other training people. Yep. I'm sure there's always other trainers there, which is always fun to network and see what everybody's doing. But we usually do free lesson type stuff. So if you have a dog and you need some help, or you're not sure, you're like, oh, I don't know, it seems overwhelming to come, like, scope us out. We'll help you. We'll get you fitted for any gear. If people want to try things out that we have, they're unsure.
You can demo it.
Yeah, now's the time. We've talked about that, but we do that a lot at
If it's
events.
a nice weekend, are you bringing the treadmills?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can bring them.
Yeah, we probably will have our splat mill treadmills out. Adam's making a face. Adam was not going to podcast tonight, but I just said we're bringing the treadmills, and he just gave me a face. But yeah, I will have the
He
treadmills.
should have been on the podcast.
I know, right? But we'll have the treadmills out. We'll have our recovery station out so people can do a little bit of recovery. We'll have some retail. We've got some retail stuff. Our new rec specs. I don't think I've put them out there too much yet, but our new limited edition rec specs will be on display, and they're amazing.
Oh, the one we haven't talked much about that I'm getting great results with is our new Dogtra smart fence.
Oh yeah, the smart fence. Yes.
Man, do not go out and spend thousands of dollars on putting a underground fence in, right? Doesn't matter which company you go to, running wire under the turf and everything, that's expensive. These new Dogtra smart fences, you can take it anywhere. You can take it camping with you.
Love that.
Set it up at different houses. Wherever you go, you can set up a size of fence that you want. And once the dog's trained to it, it's great.
Oh, I love that.
So,
yeah, we'll have all of those things. We, of course, have our leads and our prong collars. So if anyone's not really sure, they've been interested, you got a dog who's a heavy puller, but you don't know really where to start, or you're a little nervous about, they know they look scary. They have a reputation, all those things. But if you want to try it out, you want to kind of educate yourself and try it out for yourself, see how it works. We are always happy to let people try it out, demo it, get a little free lesson from us. I think all of us will be there. So you'll see all of us hanging around and probably canoodling, and we've always got fresh drinks and music. And
how's the kennels situation? We should have some rufflings, right?
We have some.
We got a few. Adam's also making a face.
Maybe?
Adam's making a
I
face.
mean, any really cool colors maybe hidden in the trailer?
I think I have a few colors, a few limited edition colors that have been hanging out. What? We have a lot of intermediates.
Good to know.
Huh?
That's good to know. So hey,
got some
if you guys
intermediates.
got friends who are looking for ruffling kennels,
I know.
Come on out and see us.
Sadly, I don't have any extra larges, and I think I maybe only have one large in stock at this point. So get it while you can, because it might be a hot second before we get our next shipment in. For those of you who don't know, it just takes a while to get these shipments of Ruffland. So yeah, stock's a little low at the moment, but
We will. We had a new Amish guy take over our lead production, so he has called and they're ready. So I will have newer leads for the event as well. So.
Awesome. We always love good fresh leads. Yeah, it'll be fun. We always,
new rec specs are cool.
I would say Pet Expo is always a huge event for us, and that's always like, I mean, I would say that's like our favorite event, but I would say Bark Bash is definitely on the list. Second favorite event that we do.
Summer.
Yeah, we really love it.
Our best summer event.
Yeah. I think they put on a great show. I think that there's so many cool free activities, and it's kid friendly. I think that's also super cool. They have a lot of activities for kids and things, people who aren't sure. We've had a lot of people be like, I don't know if my dog will swim, or I don't know if my dog will kayak or paddleboard with me. It's super cool that they allow people to try it. They kind of demo it and hopefully get people hooked on something new and fun and exciting to do with your dog for the rest of summer and maybe even next year. Something to train and look forward to. So
yeah, and it doesn't matter how hot of day it is. They have the big ice pools out.
Oh yeah, they always have the big ice pools. Yep.
Dogs are always comfortable. The trainers are miserable.
Yeah, God, it's always. Let's pray it's not so hot this year. Last year was really hot, so.
Oh, last year was in the 90s. That was horrible.
It was horrible. So
Okay. Well, I think that's it for this week. Welcome to
Yep,
Off the
sounds
Leash
good.
Conversation. We look forward to having you come out and visit with us at Bark Bash.